How much did I spend back in games this year? Well, the answer may surprise you. Coming up. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name's Clayton, and in this video, I'm going to be talking about all the board games that I backed this year and why. And I thought it'd be a good idea to get my wife's reaction to see how much she thinks I actually spent on board games. Now, of course, she actually knows all the games that I did back this year, but she doesn't quite know how much I spent on them. So let's find out how much I spent and if I'm going to be sleeping in the doghouse tonight. Going back to the beginning of last year, at the end of December, there was one game that I backed before I started my channel. That was Creature Comfort. Now, the reason why I backed that game was because of my daughter, Melanie. She's actually turning 6 and she's starting to really enjoy board games. It also seems like it's a good, simple worker placement game, so it's also a game that I think adults can enjoy as well. So that's my reason for backing this one, and of course I upgraded to get the deluxe version because I'm a huge fan of those meeples, and my favorite animal happens to be a red fox, so you can guess what meeple I'll be playing as. So I got the deluxe version, which was about 60 Canadian dollars, and if I add shipping, let's just round it up to say roughly $80. I think it was a little bit less than that, but I'm just rounding up to be safe. Now, the next game I did cover on the channel, it was actually the first Kickstarter game I covered on my channel, which was The Witcher Old World. Now, I know a lot of people disagreed that this game was not worth the price. However, for me, I'm a huge deck building fan, and that's what kind of drew me to this game. Plus, I'm a huge Witcher fan, so I thought this was a good back for me in my personal opinion. Originally, I only thought about getting the base game with a few expansions, the Legendary Hunt expansion and the Mage expansion. I thought that was good enough for me. However, after the campaign ended, I did increase my pledge for the all-in gameplay pledge without the shaded miniatures. I did get the miniatures, they're just not shaded. Now, the reason why I did that is because it wasn't actually that more expensive to upgrade to get the skeleton expansion, and also because I really enjoyed the miniatures, and because I was getting the miniatures in the expansion, I wanted to increase to get the deluxe version of this game. I didn't want to do the full all-in pledge because it just seemed too expensive, and I didn't really think I need the playmat or the upgraded dice components. I'm still pretty excited to get this game, as I do think this is going to be one of my top 10 games of all time. So in total with shipping, this was actually $325, and this is the most expensive game I've ever gone in on a Kickstarter. I also want to give a quick message to anyone that has a fear of missing out. If a game makes you feel like you're missing out on something, and you think you should back it now to get the full gameplay experience, then it's probably not worth backing, because if a game's only as good as its Kickstarter exclusives, then it's not a great game at all. But just know what games that you like and the mechanics that you enjoy and the themes that you like. Those are the things that I look for when I back games. Obviously, I like to watch gameplay to make sure that it's the type of game that I want to back. Anyways, I hope that helps. Now let's get back to the video. Now let's move on to the next game, and that's going to be Divinus. Now this didn't raise that much money compared to The Witcher. However, I still thought this was going to be a good game for me. I do understand if legacy games are not for everyone, and that's probably why a lot of people didn't end up backing this. But because I'm a huge fan of Greek mythology, and because I really enjoyed watching the gameplay, I really think this is something that my wife and I would really enjoy. And I actually do plan on streaming some of these games on the channel, so let me know if you guys would be interested in that in the comment section down below. So with that being said, I actually went all in again on this game for a total of $260 after shipping Canadian dollars. All the prices in this video is going to be in Canadian dollars. I'll convert it to American at the end of the video. Overall, I thought this game looks very interesting, and I went all in so I can get a recharge pack, and I wanted to try those other expansions out because they look interesting, and I thought, why not? I don't actually back too many games on Kickstarter, so I could go all in on this one, not knowing what was coming down the line in the future. Now let's move on to a game that you probably already know that I backed, and that is Marvel Dice Throne. I think I ended up adding a dice tray, I can't remember, but the total for this one was $120 with shipping. So you already know that I'm a huge Marvel fan, and I thought because this is a great two-player game, my wife would also really enjoy this game. So that's the reason why I backed this one. And I'm a huge fan of Dice Throne, so it's a great game, and the characters are very different. That was a concern I had with this game, is how different the characters were going to be, and the characters looked like they play very differently. So I'm really looking forward to get this one. Now, another game that I backed this year that just recently ended, that was Mindbug. Now, originally I didn't even hear about this game. So fun fact, I posted my Gen Con video, and Richard Garfield actually sent me an email talking to me about this game. So I got a chance to play it, and I absolutely loved it. So that is the reason why I backed this game. It's a really fun card dueling game, and I highly recommend to check it out if you like those type of games. So I ended up backing for the limited Kickstarter box, which cost me roughly $55 for shipping. Now that leads me to a game that actually cost very little to back, and I actually covered it on the channel with a full review. That is Viking Raiders. Now this was actually very cheap. It only cost me $35. Plus shipping, that was only around $50 to get this game. I thought it was very good. I do understand this game is not for everyone. It is a very heavy take-that game. This is the type of game that you would bust out at the end of game night, or maybe at the beginning, just to get everyone's flow going, have fun, and then call it a night. I got a chance to play it. I really enjoyed it. It didn't raise that much on Kickstarter, however, it did fund. So if that's something that interests you, I highly recommend you check it out. if you like Take That games. A quick side note, I do want to bring up a couple games that I did talk about on the channel that I did want to back this year, but at the time I just couldn't afford it. Now these games are still on my radar and I still want to pick them up in retail. First off being Black Rose Rebirth. I really do think this was a good game. Mainly because, yeah, I just spent a bunch of money on The Witcher and Divinus. I do think this is a good game, and I do think anyone that enjoys the original Black Rose Wars would enjoy Rebirth as well. Or if you're looking into getting Black Rose, Rebirth is probably the way you want to go. Another game I covered on the channel was Masters of the Universe by CMON. I thought this game looked pretty interesting, and I did want to back it. However, again, yeah, I think the only reason why I wanted to get this would be to go all in, and I just couldn't afford it at the time. And I'm still considering maybe going in on this, but I just don't think it works for my game group. Now let's talk about the last game on the list, and that is Borderlands. So my friend ended up backing this game, so that's why I did not back this game. I'm a huge Borderlands fan, but because one of my friends backed it, I will get a chance to play it, and I didn't think I needed to add it to my collection. So that's it for the games that I backed this year, or the games I thought about consider backing, and I might pick up in retail later. So that brings the total to $885. I'll put the American conversion right here. Now I don't think that is that bad, but let's see what my wife thinks. Alright, so you know how many Kickstarters I backed. You just don't know exactly how much I spent on them, right?
No.
Yeah. Okay. How much do you think I spent on Kickstarter this year?
500? 500.
Okay. So this is the total I spent.
May God have mercy on your soul.
It's not that bad. It's only like a few games. And one of them is for Melanie. Kind of. Like when she's older. But yeah. Yeah.
I think you need another job.
Yeah, okay. Am I sleeping in the doghouse tonight?
I'll think about it.
Yeah, okay. Alright, that's it, you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. That's how much I spend on Kickstarter board games. But just to give you an insight of what I do back and what I do look for in games, probably the most I ever spent in a year for Kickstarter games, probably because I started a Kickstarter YouTube channel. Let me know in the comment section down below what games you back. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Take care.